Welcome in, everybody. I hope you're doing well, and welcome to this mindful movement session. I hope you've had a good week since I've seen you last, and you are ready to get started. As always, with these sessions, do the best you can with it. If that means you need to make any adaptations, if you need to make any adjustments, if you need to have any rest breaks, or whatever it may be, as we go through this, then feel free to make those adjustments. As we go through, I will give you some adjustments to some of the exercises that will suit most of you. But if you need any extra adaptations that you think you may need, then feel free to make those decisions for yourself. If that's not being able to get quite as much range of motion or whatever it may be along those sort of lines, then make those choices yourself. Cool. Let's get into a nice, comfortable position, whatever that looks like for yourself. And then we'll just start with some nice deep breathing, going in through the nose, out through the mouth. And at some point over the next couple of breaths, if you haven't already, let's close down those eyes and bring that focus inwards as we continue the breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And focus just on that breath for now. Breathing in, breathing out. As you do, notice how it affects your body. As you're breathing in, your lungs inflate, you sit up almost a little bit taller. As you breathe out, it relaxes off, the shoulders come down. And you just flow through those breath stages, in and out. Now in a bit more of a relaxed position, let's first thank ourselves for being here today. As we always say at the beginning of the session, the hardest part is often turning up, but now you're here. You can thank yourself for turning up, but also remind yourself that we are here and we can stay focused through this session. Our mind naturally likes to wander as we go through the session, but the more we can focus on the movements we're doing, that's where we turn just movement into mindful movement, which is the aim of this session. Being aware, being present, and focusing on what we're doing, whether it's some breathing, whether it's moving, stretching, mobilizing. Staying focused helps us get more out of the session. But also understanding that our mind does like to wander, as it naturally does, and that is absolutely fine. The key, though, is to catch it and then bring it back in line. Not to be angry at ourselves for wandering and think about, what's going to be happening later on or what's happened before us today, but just capturing it when it does, bringing it back into the focus on what we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve, and doing our best to be in that focus state for as long as possible. Keep the breathing going there. If you're not already, sit up nice and tall. And now as you breathe in, I want you to almost imagine that you've got a string that's going right the way through your spine, through your neck and your head, and it's pulling you up towards the ceiling as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, it relaxes off and you kind of sink back down into your seat again. Keep repeating through that, so keep the breathing going as you breathe in, sitting up tall, being pulled through that spine. And as you breathe out, relaxing down into your seat. Really focus on the spine during this with the breathing together. Really feel like your spine is being pulled up as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, it's just relaxing off. keep the breathing going, but we can start to open up the eyes. And now as we breathe in, we're going to shrug our shoulders up. And as we breathe out, we're just going to relax them off. And this follows a similar pattern to the previous breathing we've done. As we're breathing in, we're almost, and shrugging up, it almost wants us to sit up nice and tall, or the chest comes out slightly. And as we relax down and breathe out, it is almost like relaxing off when we're doing our breathing. It's almost just an exaggerated version of it. But we also get to squeeze our shoulders, send blood to this area, which is nicely freshly oxygenated from all the breathing we've been doing. And that's just going to help to move and mobilize and get this shoulder a little bit more mobile. Good. Instead of going up and down, instead now we're going to squeeze them behind us. And then we're going to push the shoulders forwards. And again, keep the breathing going. Breathe in as you squeeze back. Breathe out as you push forwards. Nice work. Let's continue the shoulder work here by just doing some shoulder rotations now. Just go with what feels natural in terms of range of motion. It doesn't have to be huge, but if you feel like you can go a little bit bigger or whatever it is, as long as we're flowing around nicely, getting that mobilization in, getting it going. Good work. Okay, with that shoulders, we're just going to change direction. Again, keep it moving, flowing nicely. Oh, mine are a bit extra clunky. I've had the privilege of being somewhere that has a pool with a ramp to get in, and I've been utilizing it. And whenever I do, I feel like I've got all that more extra mobility, but it means that I'm reaching areas of my mobility that are a bit more clunky. So I can certainly feel that I've been using them and getting that clunkiness in. Good work. We're going to start to open up those shoulders just a little bit more. To do that, we bring our hands roughly on our shoulders, and we're just going to bring our elbows round now as well with it. Don't worry about which direction you go, because we will change soon enough, but we're just going to move it round. And the elbows just help to rotate that shoulder around a little bit more and slightly differently. So keep that going. When we're doing regular shoulder rotations, it's kind of a lot more scapula and collarbone work. But as we bring this in, we're getting that ball and socket joint in there a little bit more, as well as the collarbone and the scapula as well, or shoulder blade. So we're just involving more of the shoulder joint. Although, like I said before, shoulder joint is kind of the wrong way to say it. It's shoulder joints more than anything else, because it is more than one there. Don't ask me to name them all. I can't remember all my Latin all the time. Good. Well, let's change direction. And also remembering on this, if you need to do it single arm or alternating arms as well, that is fine. As long as we're getting good range of motion, do what you need to for balance or just ability to rotate around. Nice work. And let's start to open it up a little bit more as well. We're going to take the arm and we're going to rotate it around to the best we can. Good work. Let's change direction with that arm. And this is all about gradually building up the mobility within the shoulder, getting it mobilized, getting it moving, and having happy little shoulders. Good work. Let's change over to the other side and get that one moving and mobilized. Nice work. Okay, let's relax that off. We're going to go into a little bit of stretching here now. So usually we do this where we hold it for about 3 to 5 seconds, but we're going to hold it a little bit longer today. I'm going to roughly count about 30 seconds in my head, but it's not going to be perfect. But we're going to reach up and over if you're able to. If you can't bring it all the way up and over, remember you can bring it across the front instead. If you need to lean on something during this as well, it may help, but we're going to reach up and over if you can. Hold that position, and I say roughly, we're going to hold it for about 30 seconds and just feeling that stretch there. If you're not feeling it, try and just pull the arm over. But I like to focus, rather than trying to pull the arm over, I'm trying to push the elbow across. And that just helps me to get into that right position there. Yeah, we're about halfway through this 30 seconds. and ease it out of there. We're going to go over to the other side now. So reaching over or across, whatever you're able to do, and holding that position. We're about halfway through this one. Hold it there. If it's too much to hold it, you can just bring the arm down slightly if that's easier to hold. And ease out of that. We're going to go back to the first side again. So up and over and hold. Just over halfway through this one. And ease out of it and back over to the other side. That's about halfway through. Good, holding everybody just a little bit longer here. And ease out of it. Good. That's stretching our lats. Those are the big muscles at the back that connect in lots of different places, but mainly along the spine. And we're going to go into stretching our chest and our upper back now. So for the chest part, we're going to open it up like so. I'm going to turn to the side as well, straight from there. So open it up, hold that position, and we're going to feel that stretch. Make sure the elbows are kind of pulled back as far as they can, and also make sure those wrists are pulled back as well. When we're in this position, we really feel like we've opened up that chest, holding that position. And we are about halfway through. And ease out of that. We're going to take one arm now, and we're going to reach it forwards and feel like your arm's being pulled forwards the most we can. If you need to lean on something as well, you can do that. So I'll showcase. It's got the arm of the sofa, so you can just lean onto it and just reach that hand forwards. Almost try and push it forwards in the socket as well. Feel a little bit extra of a stretch. And for another couple of seconds here. Ease out. Normally we go back and forth between the chest and that, but we're going to go onto the other side first of all. So swap over to the other arm and reach that forwards. And we're about halfway through this one. Pulling that shoulder forwards, reaching forwards the best you can. You don't have to hold on to something like I am. I'm just demonstrating it here. And then let's ease out of that. We'll go back to our chest stretch again. So opening up the chest, pulling those arms back and behind. Make sure the wrists are back too. just over halfway there. And then let's reach one arm forwards, hold that position. Just about halfway through. And ease out. Over to the other side. And ease out of that one. Good work so far. We've got a few extra stretches here to do. For this next one, we're going to have our hand on either our hips or our wheels or somewhere around about this area, and we're going to push forwards and we will push back. What we're going to do, we're just going to do a couple here just to get into it, and then we'll hold it. So we just push the elbows forwards and then we're going to squeeze them back behind us. Just I feel like this one just needs a little bit extra warm up to get into it. So push forwards with the elbows, squeeze them back, push forwards, squeeze back, and I reckon we can get into it now. So let's go into pushing forwards to begin with. Hands on the hips, pushing those elbows forwards, feeling that stretch. And this kind of gets deep within those rotator cuff muscles there. So you probably feel it sort of at the back of the shoulders, like kind of almost in the shoulders themselves. There's sort of like the back up here. Sort of the back of the armpit. That's kind of where I kind of feel the stretch. We're about halfway through that one there. Good work. Let's ease out of that. We're going into bringing the elbows behind us now. Squeeze them together. Right, keep it going a little bit longer. And although it does stretch the chest, it also stretches the front deltoids there. Ease out of it. We can go back to the front again. So hands on the hips. Push the elbows forwards. Hold in that position. Oh, I'm really feeling these stretches today. Don't know about anybody else. But it's interesting knowing the difference because when we do our stretches where we hold them like 3 to 5 seconds, we usually do, roughly about 10 of them on each side or on whatever we're doing. So we're actually doing the same amount of time because we're doing twice on each one. So we're actually kind of getting almost the same amount of stretch time, but it really changed it up. Let's go back now behind us, squeeze those elbows together. It makes a big difference in terms of the outcome of the stretch. One's really good for like mobility, one's really good for like range of motion. This one's really helps that range of motion because we can get it, hold it, and it has just that slightly different benefits. And let's ease out of that. Let's just go into some shoulder rotations. We've done quite a lot of shoulder stretching there. Let's just mobilize out of it nice and easily. Now you may find tomorrow you get a little bit of soreness in those areas just from the stretching. That is perfectly normal to feel that if you haven't really done that amount of stretching for a while or whatever the case may be. So if you are feeling a little bit sore tomorrow, it's just a normal part of a stretch routine. Excellent work. Somebody said it in a really good way. A muscle, like doing strength training, like trains the muscle this way, and stretching trains it that way. So it's kind of like you kind of get that same effect at the end of it, where you get that soreness the next day. You get that with stretching and with strengthening. So yeah, it's just something to think about if you're going like, oh, wide awake a bit today when it's tomorrow. Anyway, we're halfway through. Let's grab ourselves a drink and then we'll come back to do our spinal mobility. But good work so far, good stretching, and some good breathing as well that we were doing at the beginning there. They don't have squash here either, so I'm having to go to water. For those following my squash journey around the world, finding which countries have it and which don't. Good work. Okay, we're getting to our mobility through our neck and spine now. So whenever you're ready to, we'll start with some breathing, just in through the nose, out through the mouth, and let's just reset ourselves. And then we can go through our spinal mobility. Flexion as we look down, extension as we look up, back and forth between the two. Nice, easy movements here. And it's not necessarily about how far you can move your neck through the range of motion. It's just going through a nice, comfortable range. Good work. Next time you find yourself looking down, let's hold that position there and keep the chin tucked in and let gravity take over for a little bit here. Just bringing the head down, almost curling it down. And you can either hold it in this position still, or almost keep your chin locked in place and just rock side to side in this position. And as you do so, you'll find there's some areas that feel like they need stretching. When you find those areas, you can just hold it a little bit longer if you would need to or want to, or just rock back and forth. And this is just a good way to observe kind of how your body is doing, how your neck is doing, because by doing this, I notice that the tight areas when I bring my head to the left side in this position, and as we know, tightness is weakness generally, so I know that this side of my neck is maybe a little bit weaker than the other side because I'm not feeling it anywhere near as much on that side. So I know that when I'm doing my training, like doing resistance work, make sure that that side is strong as well. Good. Let's ease out of that. We can do some looking up and downs. And then when you're ready to, we're going to our extension. To do this, remember, we can start by looking forwards, keep the mouth closed, place the hand gently on top of the sternum, almost kind of hold the skin in place there. That's kind of what it feels like. So keep the mouth closed and then look up from there. And when you do that, you'll feel a stretch through the front of your neck. To repeat that, so you start by looking forwards. You take one hand, place it on top of the sternum, and you kind of almost lock it in place there. Mouth closed, looking up. And the mouth closed is more important than you think. If you in that extended position and you keep your mouth closed and open it, you can feel the difference through the front of the neck there. And then from there as well, we can rock side to side. Just a little bit carefully on this one. And on this one, what's interesting is it's my left side that feels a little bit tighter on the left side. And that's really interesting because it's the opposite to the other side. So it's almost like my ability to cross this diagonal plane is stronger than this one. So there must be something I'm doing in my day to day, or probably sleeping because I sleep on this side. This gives me a good indication of kind of how that's. Yeah, let's ease out of that. Looking up and down a couple of times. So yeah, as I was saying, I know you guys were looking up at the time, but essentially, this side feels tighter at the front, but this side feels tighter at the back for myself. As I said, tightness is usually weakness. So there's obviously this sort of diagonal is where it's a little bit weaker than this sort of diagonal. That can be down to how I sleep because I'm a side sleeper, so that's probably the main thing. But it could be like how I'm sat in the chair when I'm doing work, lots of different reasons, but it's just something to pay attention to, keep notice of. And then doing this mobility work is one thing that helps to kind of keep things a bit more balanced. But also there's strength work and that we can do, we've done in the past, and maybe I'll introduce some future sessions as well. Just do a little bit of like strength work within the neck that's very gentle and suitable for if you have cervical injuries as well. Cool. Let's go into our lateral flexion now. So bring, no, sorry, not lateral flexion, rotation. I've done it enough times, I should know. Right, rotate round to the left, rotate round to the right, and back and forth between the two. Good work. So nice, easy, gentle movements. moving left and right. Good work. And again, it's not about how far you can do this range of motion, it's just about moving and mobilizing through it. Nice and gentle and controlled. Nice. Let's introduce our stretch now. So start by looking forwards. We're going to take our left hand and place it like we did with the sternum, but slightly over to the right more, so onto our right collarbone. Again, keep the mouth closed, and we're going to rotate round to the left. I'll repeat that again. So we start by looking forwards. We take our left hand sort of just on top of our right collarbone. Keeping the mouth closed, we rotate our head round to the left side. And you'll feel that stretch. And you almost feel like you give yourself a little bit of a massage as you look to the left. And then we can hold that position, or we can take it a little bit further by just doing some looking downs and looking up in that rotated position. And you'll probably find that you get a really good stretch as you look up, especially. Good. Well, let's ease out of that. We'll do some rotation again. And then we go into the other side. So again, start by looking forwards. This time, right hand on top of the right collarbone. Keep the mouth closed. Rotate to the right. I'll repeat again for those who need it. So start by looking forward. Right hand, left collarbone, or on top of it. Keep the mouth closed. Rotate round to the right. And then again, we can either hold it there or looking up and down. Good. Well, let's ease out of that and rotate left and right. Okay, we're going to go into our lateral flexion now. One ear to one shoulder, one ear to the other shoulder, back and forth between the two. Nice work, everybody. Just good range of motion. We're not going to be able to bring the ear all the way to the shoulder, not without raising that shoulder up, but we don't want to do that. We want to just go over to one side, over to the other with a nice range of motion. Good. Let's introduce our stretch now. So the first one, we take our right hand. We can either have it on our lap as we bring the left ear to the left shoulder. We can have it down by our side, or we can bring it behind us. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. Each one have its benefits. This one is easier for those who don't have the ability to bring their arms up easily. We can have it resting on the lap. For those who are able to, you can bring the arm down to the side, and bringing it behind you shifts that stretch slightly. And then from there we can move a little bit. So you got ear towards the shoulder. You're almost like nodding in this position, so you're looking forwards and back. Especially when I bring the head forward slightly, I get a really big stretch in that. Just be careful with how much you push it here. Let's ease out of that. Going left and right. And then let's go on to the other side. So bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. And again, 3 options. Hand on your lap, hand by the side, hand behind you. Whichever one works for you. And keep it there. Or we can start to rock it back and forth. Good work. Let's ease out of that. Just nice and carefully with this one. After doing some of these neck stretches, it can feel a little bit funky. So let's do some shoulder rotations as well. If you want to move it around a bit, wiggle it, whatever you feel like you need to do. That stretch, I got a little bit sensitive down this side when I was doing that last stretch. So I'm just easing out of it, kind of almost resetting myself a little bit. And now let's go through the rest of our spine. So we go into our flexion extension, curling forwards like a prawn, arching back like a high jumper. And just going back and forth between the two here. Nice work. We're going to go into our rotation next. Going left and right. Good work. And we go into our lateral flexion coming down to one side, coming down to the other, and back and forth between the two. And then let's go around in our whirlpool. Let's change direction. Nice work. And let's just give that all one big shake out there. Good work, everybody. That's taken quite a lot longer than I thought it would. So we're just going to do a short little bit of breathing, and then we're going to go into our mindful part of the session. So with the breathing, we're just going to breathe in, bring the hands up, breathe out, push them down. Just repeat through that. Let's make the focus of this a little bit, just to bring the heart rate down a little bit, bring the nervous system down, relaxing through. Good. Keep the breathing going. You can rest your arms on your lap now, but let's start to breathe and bring that focus back inwards as we move into the final part of our session, the mindfulness part here. In today's session, we are going to be doing our body scan. So just to remind you of this, we are going to go through each part of our body and we're just checking in, we're seeing how it feels. And you can do that just by sending energy to it and seeing what comes back. You can poke or prod or move it independently if you're able to. And again, just see what comes back. We're not trying to make any, not just solve anything in this moment. We're just trying to get an understanding of how our body feels today in this moment. So let's bring our attention all the way up to the top of our head in the crown. So right on top of the head in the middle. And just seeing how that feels there. Now this is an area that doesn't have as many or as much senses. So there's not as much feeling in this area, but we can send that energy to it, see what comes back, and then we can move on. We come now down into our forehead area. and our eyes, and we can move this, we can wiggle it, we can get things moving nicely in terms of seeing how it feels. And we can get some telltale signs of maybe why things are feeling a certain way. We're not trying to make a massive diagnosis right now, but it's towards the end of the day for me. I've been doing a lot of meetings on Zoom, so my eyes are getting a little bit on the tired side. So that kind of gives me an idea of how that feels. And you can make those your own acknowledgements on how those feel and why they feel that way. Go down now through our cheeks, our mouth, our jaw, and we can move things around. Just see how it feels. And then we bring that focus around to the top of the neck at the back. And we can go down through our vertebrae until we reach the bottom of the neck. Just be aware that it feels the way it does, probably because of the stretching and mobility we've done. So it might be a little bit different to other baselines because we really pushed it today a bit more. And that goes through for where we're going next, out towards the shoulders. And you can give them a wiggle, send that focus to it, see what feedback you get. And then move on down now through our upper arms into our elbows. We always try and judge things based on the joints area because that's the things that are moving and generally where we get most of the sensation in terms of what's happening with our mobility. Go down now through our lower arms into our wrists. And again, we can mobilize them, move them, see how things are. Go down now through our hands and our fingers. Let's bring that focus all the way back up our arms into the shoulders again, and then let's go down through the rest of our spine now. So you can wiggle, you can just send focus, energy down and see how it feels. Go down vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way down to our hips area. Before we do our hips, let's just check in with our belly area, our stomach, and just see how that feels. Just checking in, notice how it is, and then we can move on now down to the hips. As always, if you're like myself, being able to move the hips isn't easy, but still we can send some energy down there, send some focus down there. We can move it with our arms if we need to, and just see if there's anything unusual or strange in this area at the moment. Or if it's just feeling good and what that feels like, just trying to get a baseline of how it feels. We go down now through our upper legs into our knees, seeing how they feel, down through our legs into our ankles, our feet, and our toes. And even if you can't wiggle them, you can try to and see what that gives you back feedback-wise. But let's keep that energy and focus down there at the tip of our toes. What we're going to do, 3 deep breaths together. As we breathe in, imagine there's a white light filling up your body, almost like filling up a bottle of water. It starts from the bottom, it goes all the way up to the top of the head. As we breathe out, that dissipates, and then we repeat it 2 more times. So we'll start with just a breath out, and then from the toes, breathing in. Release it out. 2 more, breathing in. Last one, breathing in, white light. Good, keep the eyes closed in this moment. And then what I want you to do is thank yourself for being here today, for going through today's session. It was mostly stretching today, but that was a great benefit for myself, and hopefully it was for you as well. Getting that stretching and mobility in, remembering that tomorrow we may be feeling a little bit sore from that, and that's perfectly normal. But the main thing is that we've turned up, we've stayed focused, and that is something to be proud of. So thank yourself for coming, whether you want to give yourself a pat on the back or a round of applause. And then whenever you're ready to, you can start to open up your eyes, come back to the room and join me. And I hope you enjoyed today's session.